last week we sort of spoke about what the combat was going to be about. So the artwork for this is not done yet, but I think it is pretty cool that they sort of made this thing. But they have increased its stats slightly to have more health. So the new Autobot combat, we don't know what it is yet, has 19,600 health, so around 20,000 health, and 371 DPS. Every 10 seconds sends an inspiring shout to the equipped bot. So Optimus Prime, I think, just like bringing it in maybe. Granting all allies in range 24% DPS on normal attacks for 10 seconds. The equipped bot transmits 30% DPS heal and 30% absorption shield, become enraged if they die, gaining 100% DPS. So as I said last week, I'm not too keen on this when the bot dies. So I'm going to eradicate that. Yeah, it's great, but I don't want my combat to die. I want it to last at least the majority of the battle. And the ape said, yeah, but it's having that, extra DPS when you need it. There is not a chance in hell you are going to plan when this combat is going to die and when you need that extra DPS. It just happens at some point in the battle. And if that's happening in every battle, I'm a bit worried. But, anyway. So they've increased the health. So I think Tessa was saying that it needs to sort of equal Big Daddy in health. And you see there 19,872 at 10. So 19,665. With it going up to 20,700, it's got more HP than Big Daddy. And Big Daddy has an amazing amount of health. But there's one slight difference, and that is that this combat is melee. It makes a huge difference. So we'll go into test and we'll give it a try. So I always do my battles in hard mode on Prime League because that's where I sort of test myself. And if we're talking about the 5-star version, which we are at pretty much max, is level 9, then these top level content that should be used at the top level of the game. It's not really fair to sort of try this guy out in zone 14. He's going to do alright, he's going to do fine because it's zone 14. If we were testing the 3-star or maybe the 4-star, then yeah, I would go to level 4, zone 14, zone 15. But we're not. We're testing the 5-star version at the top of the game. Listen, they're asking people to go and do 70k, 80k in this event for this combat. They classify it as top combat. And that's what it should be. So let's give it a go. So we've got Beachcomber equipped with the new combat at level 9. I'm just going to drop him alone and we're going to see what happens. In fact, I'm going to drop a gunner just behind him and see what happens. So you can see him there, just behind Beachcomber. So the inspiring shout you can see there. Yeah, it just gets torn in. You see the combat there is taking the hits. Because it's melee, and then it dies, then it's got its enraged state. I think. I can't really see. There you go. So the problem with this is that it's melee. That's the problem. We talk about melee bots in the past and things like that, and melee was not desirable unless it's got super crazy HP. And just to make a point, Pipes is the best bot in the game. So we're going to take Pipes in with us. But what we're going to do is we're not going to use Pipes' ability. We're going to treat him as if he's just a normal bot. And so we've got Pipes. So he's got 50,000 health. Yeah, which is a crazy amount of health. Let's just drop him on a launch pad and see how he goes on his own. So let's drop Pipes. Let's see how long he lasts. So again, not going to use the ability or anything like that. I'm just going to leave him be. And you can see there his health is going down extremely quickly. We're only, 15 seconds into the battle. Yeah, he's taking all the damage, but he's a frontline tank. And you see there, he's lasted 25 seconds. Because it's not Pipes' HP that makes him such a good frontline tank. It's his HP with the health regen and the shield all into one. And that's what makes them effective. So the HP of this bot is irrelevant. They can give this bot pretty much 50k HP. It is going to die quite quickly because it's a frontline bot with no protection and nothing else. So that alone makes it quite poor that it is going to die. It is going to die. Why would you equip a combat that within 30 seconds or 40 seconds of the battle is probably going to die? That's a big problem. And what worries me even more is that when I read the description for this bot, I literally read it and went, well, that's not good. And you can sort of think like, well, that's not fair, Wozza. Why do you think this is not good? Just by reading the description. And what I tend to do is I look at it and go, right, what does this remind me of that's already in the game? And you can say Big Daddy, but Big Daddy's range, so it's unfair. That's like saying that a 20,000 health gunner is the same as a 20,000 health pipes. No, pipes, if you had half his health, we got in 15 seconds. The gunner's going to sit back a bit, not in direct hit because not a tank, so you can't compare the two. It's apples and oranges. So although, yeah, Big Daddy is high HP companion, he's not a frontline companion bot. So I was thinking, what frontline companion bots have we got? Zor's ranged. It's not Zor. And the one that came to mind is Dial. Now, if you watch my channel, you'll know my Dial on my actual account is level 1. Just to prove a point. I've left that as a kind of way to say to Spaceape, this content is that poor, I am not even going to bother. I am literally protesting at how poor this is. I'm not even going to bother to level it. So when we compare Dial, 12,000 health to 20,000 health, you'd be like, yeah, it's double the health. It doesn't matter. You can give it 50,000 health. It's going to die quite quickly anyway. Then you've got 400 DPS. This one has less. And this one sort of fire and heals, but it's pretty much irrelevant. And this one has an after death ability and an inspiring shout. I think this is another example, a bit like what Lightspeed was, of what they're trying to do too much with it. And I said in my last stream, some of the best bots in the game do one thing well. Optimal Optimus does a lot of damage in an area very well. Great. Sea Spray does a lot of damage in an area well. Great. Trax protects your bots in an area for a long time. Great. Minerva heals an immense amount. Great. Minerva doesn't go, oh, heal your bots for a minimal amount and shield them and speed yourself up. It doesn't need it. You know, we've got the health and DPS, we've got 10 seconds inspiring shout, grants DPS, transmits 30% DPS heal, absorption shield, becoming rage. We don't need all this. If you want a companion bot on the front line, you need something like Shield Drum, which says blocks 25% of damage. It protects your team. It's designed to take the hits. Having a combat that just takes the hits without any protection itself is irrelevant. No matter what health it gets, it needs a massive absorption shield. And don't forget, Shield Drum repeats every 15 seconds. This doesn't. Once it dies, becoming raged, it's gone. So this combat, just by reading it, and people could like, oh, that's a bit unfair just to read it and write it off already. It's because you know what's going to happen. It's a frontline combat that's going to get killed very quickly. It's going to get enraged for a while, and then it's going to die again. And it's a complete waste. And I don't understand why people that are involved in this game and are programming this game cannot just read that and go home. That's going to be a problem. That's not going to work. I knew that from the minute I read it, sadly. And so, couple that with the fact that it's going to be an, 40th anniversary event. They're going to make people do a leaderboard for this content. And the sad thing is that because some people are collectors and they have money to burn, people are going to run this event for this combat. Spaceapes will keep churning these combats and bots out that are not very good as long as people are willing to spend on them, sadly. And A lot of the playtesters are well against this, and it's kind of good to see some of the playtesters really speaking their mind and really being honest with themselves and sort of pushing some boundaries and going, this will never be good. And a lot of the players have sort of said that. There are some that are still going, yeah, I don't mind it. And I kind of feel that they're sort of lower level players maybe, because if you take this into Zone 14, then yeah, it's going to look great. And I got frustrated a while back at one of the content creators, and they would literally take the max 5-star into like Zone 14, and even the Apes sort of do it in their stream and try and warrant it by saying, oh, look at how much damage this does in Zone 14. And you're like, yeah, but it's a max 5-star. Yeah, of course it is. You know, and it just frustrates me. There's not this content that's top level content. The 5-star is max 5-star is definitely top level content, and it looks like it's not being tested at the top level. That's what it seems. So I don't think there's anything they can do to this combat to make it good. I really don't. And they've got 2 weeks left now. They've had 2 weeks already, and in 2 weeks they've come up with give it more health. Pretty much. So I'm quite worried for this content, if I'm honest with you. Rumours are it's going to be wheelie. If it is wheelie, that's twice as bad that we've got a bot that's really big in the lore and it's let down by a really poor idea. You know, I said last week that they said, oh, we want it a bit like Trip Up. Trip Up is better than this. This is slightly better than Dial. This is slightly better than the worst combat in the game. And that's not a bar that you want to be judged by. You don't want to be comparing this to the worst combat in the game in any single breath. But that is what we're doing, sadly. So I will cover it again next week. Hopefully some major changes can happen. But don't hold your breath, guys.